is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Minnesota.
Last night, it was bombs away at Miller Park. 3 home runs hit for the Brewers, 2 homers by the Twins, and the ball was flying in a 10-5 Brewers win. Paul Molitor talked about how the ball carries in this ballpark, especially this time of year with the roof closed as it is today. This is a hitter's park. Will we see more of the same this afternoon? The quick 2-game set in Milwaukee will wrap up with an early start time here today. Trying to keep the ball in the park, it's Ricky Nolasco, who has gone 7 innings in each of his previous 2 starts this season, and Taylor Youngman, who will make his first career appearance against the Twins. Today's Twins-Brewers series on Fox Sports North is brought to you by Jeep. Visit Jeep.com to learn more. And good afternoon from Miller Park. I'm Marnie Gellner. These 2 teams represent some significant milestones, some significant times in Paul Molitor's life. He was born and raised in Minnesota, but his major league career started here in Milwaukee in 1978. Played 15 seasons with the Brewers and left a lasting impact on this franchise. 2nd all-time in hits and games, 3rd all-time with the .303 average, a 5-time All-Star here in Milwaukee. Then it was on to Toronto for a few years, and then Molitor came back home to Minnesota in 1996 and had this unforgettable moment on September 16th. His 3,000th hit, still the only player in Major League Baseball history to record a triple for his 3,000th. And even now, as Minnesota's manager, Molitor says the Brewers will always hold a special place in his heart.
You know, there's always going to be something unique and special about my relationship with that organization, at least to me. You know, at 58 years old, you know, over a quarter of my life was spent playing for that franchise. So, yeah, man, the memories are fantastic.
Molitor and the Twins look to Ricky Nolasco this afternoon to contain the crew. Game 2 from Miller Park is coming up.
Twins baseball on Fox Sports North is presented by Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. And by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, for the everyday competitor in all of us.
At Miller Park, the roof will be closed for the final game of the season series between the Twins and the Brewers, and the Twins hope to get a split of this 4-game season series with Milwaukee. And our Toyota key stat today, the Brewer bats warming up, at least in the power department. 3 home runs last night, equaling their total of the prior week. Ricky Nolasco will try to keep the Brewers in Miller Park. He's given the Twins a couple of good starts so far this year, hoping to pick up his first win of the year. And we welcome you to Miller Park. Twins hoping to get out of town with a win here. They've given up 16 runs to the Brewers in their 2 losses to Milwaukee. Ricky Nolasco, however, so far this year has been really stingy in the runs allowed department.
Yeah, here this afternoon, Ricky Nolasco will be making his 250th Major League start. 9 of those against the Brewers, and what Nolasco's been able to do in his first 2 starts, it pitched deep into the ballgame. 7 innings in both of them. He had that 1 hiccup against the Angels where he gave up 4 runs in the 2nd inning. After that, put some zeros on the board. But when you face the Brewers, you have to face Ryan Braun. He has been outstanding against the Twins. Go back 6 straight games with an RBI against the Twins going back to last year. How will Ricky Nolasco fare against Ryan Braun? Well, what he has to do is basically start away. Establish that fastball away. We didn't see it last night from Tommy Malone. He did not repeat inside, and then hopefully keep the ball down and keep him in the ballpark.
We were reminded last night that Braun doesn't chase pitches out of the strike zone very often. That's why he has been on base so much with some hits and some walks. We'll see what happens in the season series finale between the Brewers and the Twins.
And a shroud of sadness over Paisley Park, and for that matter all of Twins territory, with the news about an hour ago that the music genius Prince passed away this morning at the age of 57. And you can debate whether there was a more significant public figure born and raised in the state of Minnesota, but you can't debate his significance as genius. And what a sad occurrence with Prince passing away today. So we will conduct affairs here in Milwaukee doing a baseball game with the pall of the terrible news back home.
Yeah, our prayers and condolences to Prince's friends and family.
Jorge Polanco will lead things off with Paul Molitor hoping to pick up a win here today and a little 2-game skid. Twins won a ball game Friday at home to end a losing streak of 9 games at the beginning of the season, and they would like to end their road losing streak at 7 games here today. Polanco just called up. He'll be followed by Dozier and Mauer. Up and away.
The lineup here this afternoon will be facing Tyler Youngman, 6'6", about 110 pounds, making his 4th start of the year for the Brewers. He's been hit around in his first 3 starts.
And Polanco takes up and away, 2-0. Polanco getting the start at third base. A switch hitter. Paul Molitor very complimentary about Polanco, meeting with the media this morning, saying he gives his teams good at bats from both sides of the plate. I don't think there's any question that this guy is on the Twins' radar. The question is they don't know where to put him on the radar.
Yeah, Polanco 10 games in AAA Rochester, hit .286, 3 triples, a home run, drove in a couple runs.
And he hits, and he cracks the first swing of his day into the right field corner, and he's got a double to start the ball game. We saw it in his brief trial 2 years ago, called up from A ball, and right out of the chute he got a triple and a double.
Well, fastball left up, and Polanco turning on it and hitting it into that corner right field. Santana has to retrieve it, but Polanco starts the offense off for the Twins with a double. Went 0 for 1 in a pinch hit performance last night. So a good start for Polanco and the Twins.
And now Brian Dozier.
Dozier's job right here, get him over.
Brewers have shifted Dozier throughout these 4 games. In this instance, Scooter Gennett, the second baseman, is on the right side of second base. And Dozier drives it to the left field corner and deep. Foul, just foul. With enough distance to almost clear the fence if it didn't.
Yeah, Bryant jumping on that first pitch, lining it. You can see the foul pole and the line, not missing by much.
The Menards batting order for the mini-series finale. Jorge Polanco, Brian Dozier, Joe Mauer, Miguel Sano, Eddie Rosario, Eduardo Escobar, John Ryan Murphy. The pitcher will bat 8th for both teams. It's Nolasco for the Twins, and then Byron Buxton. Brian had a frustrating ball game last night, hoping to get the Twins' first run of the game here in the first inning. 1 strike. Nice block by Lucroy, and it's 1-1.
Yeah, the scouting report on Youngman, 26 years old. He's actually wearing his age on his jersey, number 26. Is a fastball, not overpowering. Curveball, cut fastball, and a changeup. Making his 25th major league start.
Little pop up behind second base. And that's Gennett.
And that's what we have seen Brian doing a lot of pop-ups. And he does not do his job to get Polanco to third.
Northland Ford defense for the Brewers. Ryan Braun is in left. Ramon Flores is in center field. And Domingo Santana in right. Hill, Villar, Gennett, and Carter the infielders, and Lucroy back behind the plate. That'll bring up Joe Mauer. Twins, of course, playing by National League rules, and like many American League teams, their lineup is very much driven by the designated hitter that they will have to play without here through this road trip. And our cold hard fact brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light. And so far, Joe Mauer hitting .463, or getting on base at a .463 clip, right behind Manny Machado. And that's why it's so hard to take Mauer out of the lineup and put Byung-Ho Park in at first base. The only position that Park can play is first base. So, yeah, you want to get his bat in the lineup, but at what cost?
Yeah, there are other clubs. You think of Detroit when they played interleague, you know, they lose Victor Martinez,
right.
You know, so that's part of the interleague play where the pitcher has to hit in National League parks.
1-1 to Mauer.
And Joe's always had very good numbers here in Milwaukee against the Brewers.
Tomorrow in D.C., the Twins will face left-hander Gio Gonzalez, and that might be an opportunity for Mauer to set aside and let Park play first base.
Joe tied for 7th in the American League, hitting at .340 on the season.
Inside, 2-1.
There's numbers here at Miller Park, hitting .353. Joe last night a couple walks, drove in a run in the 9th with a single.
Breaking ball around the plate.
Yeah, a couple times it looked like Youngman slipped on the mound. He's a guy that really throws across his body, almost like Jarrett Weaver, who the Twins saw with the Angels.
Never noticed that, but you can see where his foot lands. Yep. It's almost directly in line from the pitching rubber to the Twins on deck circle.
Yeah, his landing foot has slipped a couple times and has kind of taken him over toward first base.
And at the knees, Joe thought it was low.
Oh, he's working off the third base side of that pitching rubber. You can see, you know, he does get over that left foot. The landing foot. A lot of times if you land that way, you'll recoil, but he's able to get the upper torso over his hip area.
Got a piece of it. Everybody's had a chance behind the plate on this umpiring crew. Today it's Jordan Baker's turn. Everett, Timmons, Barber on the bases.
Yeah, we were wondering in Minnesota if this umpire crew would follow us here to Milwaukee, and they did. Mike Everett at first base, had the home plate in game 1. He's the crew chief. In that rain win for the Twins, rain out, 6 innings.
The 13th walk drawn by Joe Mauer in now his 16th game against just 5 strikeouts.
Youngman walking his 5th batter in 13 1/3 innings. His first 3 starts, like I said, he pitched a couple starts ago against the St. Louis Cardinals, and they beat him up for a couple innings. He gave up 8 earned runs.
Through the winning streak and now through the back-to-back losses, the Twins have not done a good job early in games when they've had scoring opportunities like this. On the season, the Twins are 0 for 10 with the bases loaded, but now they've got their cleanup hitter at the plate with 2 men on and 1 away.
Sano picked up a couple hits in last night's ball game, both of them going to right center.
He takes a low, ball 1.
Youngman in his 2nd season with the Brewers got called up in early June of last year. Ended up winning 9 ball games.
Nice save by Lucroy, and it's 2-0 to Sano.
Youngman, of course, making his first career start against the Twins. This is his first interleague start.
Now 3-0 with Rosario on deck. The Brewers haven't pitched very well this year. They're starting to swing the bats a little bit better, but the Twins have, in the 3 games so far, they've scored 17 runs, but won just 1 of the ball games.
Yeah, Brewers starting staff of 5.83 ERA.
There's a strike. Sano takes 3-1.
Yep. Make him throw a strike.
Twins trying to put a crooked number on the board in the first inning. Strike 2, and Sano will come back to the plate, pick up his bat, and get at least one more pitch. He thought it was a walk. It would have been his 10th walk of the year.
Well, LeCroy sitting inside, and the pitch. Maybe a little low, says Foxtrax. But Foxtrax can say what it wants. Jordan Baker has control.
Full count, 1 away. And Sano dribbles it up the line. It hits the edge of the grass and trickles foul. Sano with 2 singles, and he kind of fought off a couple of soft line drives into right center field last night. The Twins would love to see him barrel one up here and give them a quick lead.
Yeah, there's less than a foot of grass between the foul line, their little dirt area, and that ball almost stayed on the grass. If it stayed on the grass, it would have been probably an infield base hit, but instead it got right at the edge of that grass and then spun in foul territory.
Another 3-2 to Miguel Sano. Just in case the Twins were going to send the runners, they did not on the prior 3-2 pitch. Some speed on the front end with Polanco at second. Power runs okay. Carter's playing well off the line, so you'd be able to get a pretty big break towards second base. And Sano takes a borderline pitch for ball 4. Very close, and now Lucroy will go to the mound because I think Youngman thought he hit the corner with that breaking ball.
It looked like it was a little bit on the high side. He throws the 3-2 curveball. And you can see the location. Ooh. The top of the strike zone.
Again, the Twins are 0 for 10 this year with the bases loaded. Bases loaded situation last night, and Arcia struck out on 3 pitches. This time it'll be today's left fielder, Eddie Rosario.
Rosario, one of the 2 home runs the Twins hit last night. Hit his second home run in the 3-run 6th inning. And he took it to left field.
Strike 1. Rosario hit one in September of last year. That's the last grand slam for the Twins. Foul back, and it's 0-2.
Remember that game on Tuesday? You know, the Twins. And here we see on Tuesday hitting a grand slam straight. Oh, excuse me, a home run. Talking a grand slam, I'm thinking grand slam. I hit the home run, and then last night's ball game, getting a pitch out over the plate and hitting it the other way. Remember that game on Tuesday in Minnesota, that day game, that the Twins' first 2 innings had, what, 4 opportunities.
Great stop in the hole. There will be no play with VR cutting it off. Rosario on an 0-2 pitch drives in the first run of the game.
They kind of fought off that and hit it the other way.
It's the first hit this year for the Twins with the bases loaded.
So Rosario picking up an RBI as Polanco scores. 5th run batted in for Rosario. And VR going to his right and has no play.
And now Escobar. Escobar's had a very steady season, hitting .262 from this side of the plate. .429 in just 7 at-bats from the other side. In the dirt, Lucroy digs it out.
25 pitches already for Youngman. Only 13 strikes. Couple walks already.
Dozier's pop-up the only out so far. 2-0.
2 starts ago in St. Louis, Youngman worked 2 innings. He gave up 8 hits and 8 runs. That's why he comes in with that high earned run average, giving up 13 runs in 13 innings pitched so far.
Chop to the right side. Get the out at first. Out number 2 coming in is Mauer. It's 2-0 now. 2 men in scoring position and a good opportunity for Murphy to double the score.
Yeah, ball not hit hard enough. They do get the out of Escobar. He does pick up an RBI, his 3rd of the year, as Mauer scores. So a good start of the ball game for the Twins.
Murphy with a hit in his last start. Just a couple of hits on the year. Last night, Kurt Suzuki had a tough night behind the plate for a number of reasons, not the least of which is he took a terrible foul ball to the side of his mask. And he said he continued on, of course, being Suzuki. He almost assumed that's always going to happen, but he actually felt numbness on the left side of his face. Breaking ball and strike 1 to Murphy.
Yeah, if you didn't see the ball game, Michael Tonkin threw a fastball at 94 and Chris Carter fouled it off. And you've got to realize when Carter swings the bat and that ball comes off his bat, it's going about 100 miles an hour. So at least to see, nice to see Kurt smiling.
And down and in, 1-1. Murphy will play the game today. We'll see what happens tomorrow night in the opener against the Nationals. 21 at bats, 2 hits, a double, a single, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. Wrapped toward short. Villar has it, flings it across to end the inning. Twins get a leadoff double from Polanco and eventually 2 runs in the first. Rebuilding phase. He's looking for players that will eventually be part of the solution in Milwaukee. Here's his batting order today, brought to you by Menards. Domingo Santana with a home run last night. He might be part of the solution. Scooter Gennett, Ryan Braun, Jonathan Lucroy, Chris Carter, Aaron Hill, Ramon Flores, Taylor Youngman, the pitcher, and then the shortstop, Jonathan Villar.
Yeah, Brewers have some youngsters getting an opportunity to get some major league at-bats, and they'll be facing Ricky Nolasco here this afternoon. For Nolasco, making his 3rd start, making his 10th career start against the Brewers, the first time he's pitched here at Miller Park since 2011. He did face the Brewers last year.
Down and away, ball 1.
Excuse me, he faced the Brewers in 2014 in Minnesota. And now 2-0. Nolasco had the one
bad inning in his last outing, but then he settled down and gave the Twins some much needed innings after that in his start against the Angels.
Yeah, first 2 starts he went 7 innings in each start. Fastball that Santana swings through. Velasco tried to establish his fastball early. That's the type of pitcher he is, and then he has a very good curveball that he'll change speeds on. Also a slider, like a cut fastball, and a changeup.
Missing 3-1. Velasco with 2 walks in his last start, none in his first start, so 14 innings, 2 walks. In his first 2 years with the Twins, he's given up a lot of hits, but he's never been a guy to walk a lot of guys. Chopper to third, tough play, and it gets by Polanco. Santana will round first. He'll dig for second. Here's Rosario's throw, not in time. So the Brewers start their first inning with a double.
Right down that third baseline, Polanco playing off the line a little bit. The ball scoots by him. He almost got a glove on it, and it's a double for Santana, his 5th double of the year. Ball behind, you have to come in with a fastball. He does. And the ball getting past Polanco. Rosario hustling after it, but it's a double.
And now Scooter Gennett. Gennett with some pop in his bat. And I think as the Brewers try to find players to fill different spots, they are just going to let Gennett play second base, not worry about him. They think enough of him that they can just leave him there. On the ground to first, and Mauer will go to the bag, and Santana will go to third.
Boy, it's an out right there, but a productive out. That gets Santana over to third, something that Dozier was unable to do.
Take a look at the Twins out in the field. Rosario, Buxton, Sano, the outfielders. Polanco hasn't played a whole lot of third base lately, but he's there today. Escobar, Dozier up the middle, Mauer at first, and Murphy behind the plate. Ryan Braun, the batter. And as Joe Mauer is second in the American League in on-base percentage, Braun is in the top 10 in the National League too, and we saw why last night.
5 hits in 18 at-bats against Ricky Nolasco, but Nolasco's been able to strike him out 5 times.
Twins playing the infield back, and Braun takes outside, ball 1.
Ryan Braun in his 10th season with the Brewers, 6-time All-Star, National League MVP for the Brewers in 2011.
Half swing, ball 2. Pitches, just 3 strikes for Nolasco so far. 2 of those strikes put in play. And there's a strike taken, 2 of them.
With a breaking ball, Braun, of course, wants to try to drive in a run, looking for the fastball. He took that breaking ball.
Driven to right. Sano won't get it. Hard off the wall. Braun to second. It's an RBI double, 2-1.
Well, he took the breaking ball on an 2-0 count and then fastball away and just went with it. So the pitch left up. Braun didn't try to pull that ball, just took it the other way. High off the wall. His 3rd double of the year, driving in his 12th run.
Target was down and away, and the delivery was up and away, and Braun jumped all over it. Here's Lucroy with the tying run at second. Lucroy with his batting average climbing to just under 300.
Picked up a couple hits in last night's ball game. A big 2-run double in that 3-run 5th inning for the Brewers.
Breaking ball over, strike one. Twins getting 2 and leaving 2. And Nolasco trying to allow the Brewers 1 and force them to leave a man aboard here in the 1st inning. Side, 1-1.
And Nolasco making his 10th career start against the Brewers. He's 3-3, but he has struggled here at Miller Park in 3 previous starts here, all with the Florida Marlins. He's 0-2 with a 12.66 ERA.
Yikes.
So he has not pitched well here at Miller Park.
Some of that might be the fact that this is a hitter's ballpark. Paul Molitor was talking about that before the game today, how a roof closed, roof open. This would have been a great place for him to hit.
Well, you still have to make your pitches, though. You know, you saw Braun's pitch up.
Right.
He fell behind on Santana. Santana got the 3-1 double down the left field line.
Out in front, a Tapper foul, 2-2.
Nolasco, 33 years old. This is his 250th Major League start here this afternoon. He has 100 wins, 89 losses.
As a Twin, 11 wins, 14 losses. An ERA of about 5.5. Both starters struggling in this 1st inning. Lasco's given up a pair of doubles. 2-2 to Lucroy. Got him looking, and Lucroy knew it. 2
Yes,
down.
he did. He's looking for something else, and Nolasco picking up a strikeout on that curveball. Watch Lucroy's reaction right here. He knew it. Whoop.
And now Chris Carter. And if Nolasco can get him, get off the field with a 2-1 lead, the Twins can go back to work against Youngman. And Nolasco will lead things off. High pop up right side. Dozier into the outfield grass, makes the catch. Nolasco gives up a couple of doubles and 1 run, but the Twins still carry a 2-1 lead. to CenturyLink Prism TV for an advanced TV experience. Learn more at cprismtv.com. Ricky Nolasco batting 8th will lead things off, and then Byron Buxton and Jorge Polanco.
Let's see if he can do what Tommy Malone did last night. Picked up a couple singles in his 2 at-bats.
Strike on the outside corner.
Nolasco, of course, a lot of years with the Marlins. 374 major league at-bats. He has 51 hits. 12 doubles, a home run. He's driven in 26 runs.
Strike 2.
And they're pitching him away.
Down and away.
Yeah.
Nolasco will strike out about half the time. Checked his swing. I asked Paul Molitor for about a 20-second explanation about his theory in batting the pitcher 8th, and it's become more and more in vogue. We mentioned Craig Counsell's batting his pitcher 8th. I think Tony La Russa was the first one who brought that into prominence.
Right.
And one of the reasons, Paul said, he gave me more than a 20-second answer, but he said one of the reasons was Buxton on base. If Buxton were to reach hitting 8th, it's almost, I mean, Buxton can steal 2nd, and then, you know, what do you do with the pitcher when you want him to bunt? There's Nolasco lifting one foul. And you know me well enough. We've worked together 21 years. Our viewers know that I tend to be very simple-minded.
Okay.
And so, to me, it just makes
no sense.
I would there's a ball hit to right center field and hit pretty well. Flores back, and he makes the catch on a warning track.
Well, Nolasco gave it a ride. Yeah, Taylor Youngman, when he first came up back in early June, he started off very well. His first 16 starts, he was 9-5. Look at the earned run average. But since September 8th of last year, including the 3 starts prior to this afternoon's game, 0-5 with an ERA over 9. So he came up, was a really, everything was going his way, and now it has not as of late.
Strike one to Buxton. And now strike 2.
Big curveball there, better control.
Oh, 2 to Buxton. And he took 3 and has gone quickly 2 down.
And that crossfire curveball gives Youngman his first strikeout. And we talked about how he really steps off, throws across his body, big curveball. So a little more under control here in the 2nd inning than he was in the 1st.
Polanco cracked a double into the right field corner in his first swing today. Four in a row set down by Youngman. Oh, he's pumping strikes in there now.
Yeah, too many pitches in that 1st inning. 30 pitches for Youngman. 16 were over the plate.
On the ground to 2nd. Easy play for Jeanette, and an easy play, or easy inning for Taylor Youngman.
Park. Minnesota has a bit of a different look defensively in the outfield here today. Paul Molitor has been frustrated by some of the sloppy play out there. We saw it again in the game last night. Molitor said afterwards, sloppiness always concerns a manager. We know errors are part of the game, but you like to clean that up the best you can. And Molitor said sometimes you trade offensive players that maybe aren't your best defensive players, and sometimes you've got to be able to deal with the consequences when it doesn't work out for you on the defensive side. But Dick and Bert, we are hoping that this is a better defensive outing for Minnesota here today.
Well, thank you, Marnie. With Sano in right, Buxton in center, Rosario in left. It's the opening day outfield. The batter's Hill. He took a pitch off the plate for ball one. Now he takes a strike, 1-1.
Yeah, you know what? Again, a lot of youngsters out there with Rosario, Buxton, and Sano. And the one thing you don't want to do is if you struggle at the plate like Buxton and Rosario and Sano have, you don't want to take it to the outfield with you. You want to be that two-dimensional. Hey, when I'm up, I hit, but when I'm on defense, I'm going to play steady. And we have seen a lot of not steady in the outfield play.
We saw steady and exceptional defense from Rosario in left field last year. We know Buxton is maybe already one of the better defensive center fielders in the game. The question mark is in right field with Miguel Sano. 2-1 to the batter. And he hits one to Buxton for what should be out number one. There's the catch. And I think everyone at one point in the Twins organization has used the phrase work in progress in right field, and the emphasis should be on the word progress. If they see progression from Sano in getting good breaks on balls, handling situations, caroms off the wall, digging balls out of the corner, all of that, well, then they'll be fine with it. But you don't want to see the same mistakes that we've seen, like from Oswaldo Arcia, repeated mistakes.
Right.
One down. Here's Flores. And he takes strike one. Flores, the Brewers center fielder.
He's only 24 years old, coming over from the Yankees. So he's getting an opportunity.
Velasco thought he hit the bottom tier of the strike zone.
Velasco working quickly. Working off that first base side of the pitching rubber.
2-1.
And when we see Nolasco struggle, he has a tendency to fly open because of that left shoulder flies open, and the arm sometimes cannot catch up. He's got a very good curveball. You have to make sure you keep that left shoulder in as long as possible.
3-1.
One thing Nolasco does when he's throwing the ball well, his back, he'll really right there get behind. Now see, kind of recoiled right there.
We've seen him in warmups where his back is almost parallel to the ground, like that last pitch. It still misses, but he followed through a little bit better with it, and it's a one-out walk to Flores.
Yeah, sometimes you overstride, and that's how that causes the recoil in your delivery.
Taylor Youngman will be asked to bunt here.
Youngman, pretty good hitter, 1 for 5 this year. He does not have a sacrifice yet this year.
Now, the way it's turned out, situations like this are why a manager might bat the pitcher 8th. Here you hope to get a bunt down, get a runner in scoring position for the number 9 batter, who then is presumably a more accomplished hitter, and VR could tie the game up with a single.
Yeah, Youngman just his 4th start this year. But last year he had 6 sacrifices. Flores at first base has not attempted a stolen base yet.
One strike to the pitcher. Up and in. The way I look at it, by the way, and this is a bit of an oversimplification, over the course of a season, the number 1 batter will come to the plate about 20 times more than the number 2 batter, 20 times more than the number 3 batter, so on, all the way down the lineup. So if you played by National League rules, by batting the pitcher 8th, that means that inferior hitter would get 20 more plate appearances than the guy hitting ninth. That will rule foul. So as I said, I tend to just look at things simply. It's a complex issue, and it's becoming, again, more and more popular to do this. But what you're saying, or what you're encouraging, is the idea that the pitcher would get 20 more plate appearances or his spot in the batting order than the number 9 guy.
Yeah, but then you look at it and say there's 2 outs and the pitcher comes up in that number 8 spot. Then you lead off with, a fast guy, usually in that number 9 spot. We have Buxton in our lineup and VR in theirs.
And that's why Paul said he did it. And it makes perfect sense that way. And I think it makes more sense for a team sporadically playing by National League rules than someone who's doing it all the time. There's a bunt foul. It's a strikeout, and out number 2.
Youngman unable to advance the runner. Flores to second base. And Nolasco gets a strikeout, his second.
And now Jonathan VR with a runner at first and 2 down.
VR, a switch hitter in his first year with the Brewers, just 24 years old. Hitting .261 as a left-handed hitter. He's never faced Nolasco.
On the outside corner, a strike. VR will get a chance this year, at least the start of this year, to play short for the Brewers. As we mentioned in the 3 prior telecasts, Orlando Arcia, Oswaldo's younger brother, is considered to be Milwaukee's shortstop of the future, and the future may be in 2016, may start in 2016. 1-1 to VR. And a base hit to center field. Flores will check in at second. So Youngman's inability to advance the runner has kept the Twins in front here 2-1.
Yeah, first time through the lineup, 3 hits for the Brewers, 1 walk. And Nolasco fell behind Santana to lead off the bottom of the first inning. 3-1 pitch that Santana hit that ball right down the left field line.
Brewers got a couple of doubles in the first, now a walk and a single, and Santana will bat with the tying run at second. A lot of kids here today. It's weather day here at Miller Park. They had over 9,000 fans here for a special program.
A lot of elementary kids here enjoying the ball game, and I'm kind of upset that you weren't part of the program. You've always wanted to do the weather. They had all the local weather people here.
I want to do the weather in Minnesota. I don't care about the weather in Milwaukee.
Usually the weather in Minnesota is the same as Milwaukee.
About the same, right?
Isn't it?
Yep. Swing and a miss.
Good hard breaking ball right there.
But that's a field trip. You know, when you're a kid, you're going to weather day at a ballpark, then you get to watch a ball game. And I've told the story before. The only field trip I was ever on was to a sewage treatment plant. Now that's not a field trip.
That's a stinky field trip.
Swing and a miss. Nolasco strands a couple aboard, and we head to the third with the Twins up 2-1. North is presented by Northland Ford. Visit northlandford.com and your local Northland Ford dealer today. And by Grand Casino. The best stories start here. And if they'd have had selfie sticks back when I got my field trip to the sewage treatment plant, I would not have brought it on my field trip. 2-1 Twins, and Brian Dozier will lead off the third inning. Mauer and Sano will follow, facing Taylor Youngman. There's a pitch inside. Dozier popped up to the second baseman Jeanette after Polanco's leadoff double in the first.
Yeah, Youngman had a tough time getting going, but he's retired the last 5 Twins.
Dozier squares, didn't offer at it. It's 2-0. What we heard repeatedly when the Twins were really struggling to get hits and runs in the first week and a half of the season is this team is going to hit. They know they're going to hit. Popped up back and out of play. That's exactly what's happened. In fact, right now, as we begin playing here today, the Twins have a team batting average of .246. Now that's not great, but it's 5th in the American League. The league average is .241. So this offensive drought that the Twins have experienced early on. And I check that they're 6th in the American League in team batting average. Teams like Houston, Cleveland, the Yankees, the Blue Jays, Oakland, Chicago, Los Angeles, Seattle, and Tampa all have a lower team batting average. Now the idea, of course, is to score runs. We know that. But it gives you some idea about how widespread the offensive drought is and how tough it is to hit. I'm telling you, we need to get rid of the mound altogether. Quick trip to the mound from Lucroy and have the pitchers pitch from flat ground.
Why don't you just move back to second base?
A leadoff walk for Dozier.
What you mentioned, yeah, they're hitting .246 as a ball club, but only the Angels and the Rays have scored fewer runs.
Right.
And that's what the department that you worry about is runs scored.
Yep. Mauer walked and scored in the first.
Third walk for Youngman.
Dozier dives back.
Yeah,
Twins, particularly when they've had,
bases.
when the Twins have had a lead, they've been pretty aggressive on the bases.
9 stolen bases for the Twins in 13 attempts. Ryan for 2 for 2. And what Butch Davis and the Twins will look at, Butch Davis, the first base coach, and everybody on the bench, does Youngman have that high leg kick toward home plate? He's 6'6". Does it take him a little while to get going? Maybe a split second allows Dozier a step or two. Lucroy very good behind the plate as far as arm strength.
Inside. Sometimes a manager might be reluctant to send the runner here with a left-handed batter at the plate because the left-handed batter can exploit a larger hole, but that's really not Joe's strength. He doesn't pull the ball through the first to second baseman hole very often.
And Youngman pretty quick at that first pitch toward home plate.
Team leader in steals is Eduardo Nunez, 3, but he has been caught twice. And on the outside corner. The Twins would like to develop in the next coming years team that would be reminiscent of the early Molitor teams here in Milwaukee. Harvey's Wallbangers with a lot of power in the lineup, and you can imagine that happening with Sano and Park, Plouffe, and now 2-1. But what made that
even Brian Dozier,
right? But with that power in the late 70s, early 80s for the Brewers, some guys who ran the bases well, like Paul Molitor and Robin Yount, kind of a mixture, and you had a lot of different offensive components. And I think the Twins, if things break right, could have in a couple of years that type of lineup. Dozier's a hybrid. He's got power. He can run the bases. Sano's power might see him with 40 home runs a year in his career.
We hope so.
Park's off to a good start. 2-1 to Joe Mauer. And now 3-1 Sano on deck.
Well, Youngman walked Joe Mauer in that first inning. He's falling behind here. See if Joe gets a hittable pitch here.
And it's not close. And Youngman starts the third inning with a pair of walks. And we'll bring up Sano, who walked his first time up. Soup.com trivia. Which pitcher holds the Brewers record for most strikeouts in a season?
Well, pitching coach Derek Johnson out to talk to his tall right-hander. So Johnson looking up at Youngman.
Don Sutton wasn't that much of a strikeout pitcher toward the end of his career.
No, not with the Brewers.
Pete Vukovich, trying to think of some of the other.
Mike Caldwell, but he wasn't much of a strikeout pitcher. Jim Slayton was here.
Teddy Higuera, but as I recall, he was more of a pitch to contact guy. Well, here's Sano. Second time he's been up with 2 men on in the first inning. Polanco was at second and Mauer was at first with 1 out, and Sano drew a walk to fill the bases. Tenth walk of the year for Sano. He struck out 20 times. Off-speed pitch and strike 1. Seems to have had better control of that slow breaking ball and his fastball here in the early innings. And now a ball. Have a bunch of solo home runs, a couple of 2-run home runs, looking for a 3-run home run. Tapped foul, and it's 1-2. .51 at bats, and just the 1 home run, a couple of doubles. Again, in the minor leagues last year, he got off to a poor start in April. One and 2 to Miguel Sano.
Let's see if they go inside.
That is a liner to left, a base hit. Dozier around third. He'll be waved in. And the Twins lead it 3-1. Sano with an RBI single.
Yeah, Sano's strong enough. He just fought that pitch off. Looked like it was inner half of the plate. Sano picks up his 4th RBI as Dozier scores from second base. Yeah, breaking ball left. Inner half of the plate, and Sano opening up quickly as Brian gives the Twins a 3-1 lead.
Looked like he hit that right off the end of the bat. Still was strong enough to muscle it into left field. Here's Rosario with an RBI single, his first time up. Way out in front of that slow breaking ball. And when we were talking about the potential Twins lineup a couple of years ago, how productive it could be. Rosario, you'd have to say he's kind of a hybrid guy too. Tremendous power for a guy his size. He runs well.
Good bunt. Good bunt.
Nobody at third base, and Rosario is retired at first. He'll get credit for a sacrifice, and he nearly got a base hit.
Yeah, Youngman maybe thought that Hill was covering third. He looked over there, but Hill was coming in also. And then he spun around, and it was a bang-bang play at first base. Rosario hustling out of the box. Young looked, spun, and threw to Carter. And you can see just getting him at first base. Good hustle by Rosario. Good sacrifice.
Brewers will bring the infield in now for Escobar, who drove in a run with a ground ball his first time up. Ryan Murphy on deck. Twins have a chance to build the lead here. It's 3-1. And a strike over the inside corner. There's a chopper back to the mound. Youngman looks at third, and Escobar fails to drive in a run, and Murphy will come up with a chance and 2 out. Twins fans, if you can't watch the games on TV, you can now stream games live on your mobile device. Go to your app store, download the free Fox Sports Go app, log in, and stream the Twins wherever you go.
Yeah, Escobar just couldn't square up solidly. That curveball just hit like he hit right on top of it.
Murphy at the plate in the exact same spot he was in the first inning. Runners at second and third, 2 down. He did not deliver a hit in the first. He'll get a chance for a reprieve here in the third.
And you can see Escobar a little upset at himself.
Strike on the outside corner. Yet to drive in a run. Fooled by the breaking ball, and it's 0-2.
Yeah, that's a big breaking ball right there, especially the way that Youngman steps toward almost a third baseline. Youngman was a Brewers #1 pick in 2011, 12th pick overall in the 2011 draft. Played his college ball out of the University of Texas in Austin, Texas.
Blocked by Lucroy, 1-2.
And last year, first 16 starts, 9-5, 2.42 ERA, but it's been a struggle since the early part of September last year. 8 starts, an ERA of over 5. Excuse me, at 9.34.
The control just seems to blink on and off a lot for this guy. At least it has here today.
You know, when I first came up, I threw like he did right there. I was really across my body. And Marv Grissom was my pitching coach, and he actually put a folding chair where he's landing. And he said, I want you to utilize the lower part of your body. You're throwing all arm. And I said, well, what if I land on that chair? He said, well, then you'll break your neck, won't you? That ball getting away from him.
Now 3-2. There's a base open. Of course, Nolasco is on deck.
Watch this pitch right here, up and in. And Murphy ducking to get out of the way, and Lucroy able to get it in his glove. Yeah, when he put that folding chair down, I looked and I said, well, what if I land on that thing? He says, well, then you'll break your neck. But what I thank Marv Grissom for that, because he opened me up and I used the lower part of my body.
Back to the mound, and Youngman survives, giving up just 1 run in the third inning, and it's 3-1 Twins.
fans and people all across Twins territory still absorbing the news, the shocking news of Prince's death. The Twins tweeted out a photo of Target Field fittingly in the rain with purple highlights and a photo of Prince on the video board. Former Twin Torrey Hunter tweeted out, "One of my favorites, gone. This hurts. R.I.P." Dick and Bert, I saw Prince in concert 3 different times. My most memorable was right here in Milwaukee at Summerfest. But just really stunning news that is still something that people are absorbing and talking about, and it's very prominent on social media right now, as you can imagine.
Yeah, thank you, Marty.
The iconic musician passing away this morning at the age of 57. And no word, no details given yet as to the cause of death. 1 strike to Scooter Gennett. Braun and Lucroy will follow. Nolasco taking his second 2-run lead to the mound with him here in the 3rd. Inside, 1-1.
Gennett in his 4th season with the Brewers. Signed by the Brewers in 2009.
Sharply hit. Dozier. Nice play going to his right. And he throws him out. Good play by Brian Dozier. 1 away. MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, delivers everything you've come to expect and more. Watch every out-of-market game live in HD on over 400 supported devices. It includes a free subscription to AppDat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. 1 down, and here's Braun with the bases empty. Drove in a run with a double his first time up. And strike 1. Four of the first 9 men reached against Nolasco. 3 hits and a walk, and now the second time through the order, and he's retired each batter so far. Fouled away, 2 strikes.
Got to get that ball in there. Murphy's sitting inside. He's talking to Bill Schroeder about how to pitch to Ryan Braun. He said when clubs try to pitch him hard in, and I said, do they repeat inside? He said pitchers don't repeat inside as much as maybe they did when we played. But he's a guy that likes to extend his arms. You have to, if you're going to go in, go way in. Because he can do that. We saw it last night against Tommy Malone. Tommy Malone a couple times threw balls that were probably 6 to 8 inches off the plate. But Ryan just kept, Ryan Braun just kept fouling him off. And Ricky Nolasco again, stay away. And then go inside, go hard inside. Laid off that breaking ball there. Count in his favor right now for Nolasco. Slider is a 3.
And Braun taps it foul.
Braun, 32 years old. This is his 10th season with the Brewers.
Few bad swings that Braun has made in this 4-game series. 2 down.
Nolasco picking up his 4th strikeout. So Braun chasing that curveball.
Two down. That'll bring up Jonathan Lucroy. Lucroy called out on strikes. Took a breaking ball for out number 2 of the first inning. Fastball off the plate. Nolasco eventually winning the 5th starter spot out of spring training when Tyler Duffy didn't pitch well in the spring and was sent down to AAA. Bouncer left side, backhanded by Escobar. And a good inning, a 1-2-3 for Ricky Nolasco. Presented by T-Mobile. Get Major League coverage. T-Mobile has doubled its 4G LTE in the last year. Barney Gelder, Bert Blyleven, Dick Bramer at Miller Park. Twins trying to split the 4-game season series, the dual mini-series at 2 apiece. The Twins will go to Washington, D.C. to take on the Nationals this weekend and then return home. Ricky Nolasco will hit, and the most significant thing that's happened here, the most positive thing that's happened, is the fact that the pitchers are hitting the ball solidly. Tommy Milone went 2 for 2 yesterday. Nolasco drove a ball to the warning track in right center field, his first time up. Ball 1. Nolasco has a big league home run. Talked last night about Milone hitting one of the first pitch he saw in the big leagues. Ooh, that's a home run swing right there. And again, Paul Molitor yesterday was talking about his pitchers. Take another look at Nolasco's swing here. Some of them want to make contact, others swing hard in case they hit it. Off speed pitch, and it's 1-2. But Twins have position players who do the same thing, right? Some are trying to make contact, and others breaking ball up and in. 2-2. Nolasco, Buxton, and Polanco here in the Twins' 4th.
Has to be a fastball, and it's down and away.
3-2.
You don't want to walk the pitcher.
He's already issued 4 walks. It was a leadoff walk and follow-up walk in the 3rd inning that led to the 3rd run for the Twins. And he walked him. Nolasco will go to first base.
Like a cardinal sin right there. 5 walks for Youngman.
And Buxton looking at Gene Glenn. Buxton took 3 pitches, all for strikes, in his 2nd inning at bat. Buxton takes low. This is where Nolasco's thinking, look, if this guy hits a gapper, I got to put it in high gear. He's going to lap me. 2 is very foul, 1-1. Now Carter is not holding Nolasco on at first base, trying to shorten the hole between first base and second base. They don't think Ricky Nolasco is going to try to steal second base.
I don't think he is either.
The biggest concern for all American League managers, it's not pitchers hitting, it's what happens when they are asked to run, either beating out a ground ball or getting on base and running the bases, something they're not accustomed to doing. Popped up a foul ball that will reach the seats, 1-2. I'll say we were here when Eric Milton ran down the line and he stretched to hit the bag and ended up twisting his knee.
Let's see if Youngman throws Buxton another curveball. He does, and he fouls it off. They struck out Buxton in his first at bat when Buxton took that curveball.
Blocked by Lucroy.
Kind of see why Youngman has struggled. 3 previous starts and this one here. Just lack of control with that fastball.
And yet it's just a 3-1 ball game.
Right.
Twins need to cash in. And Buxton sends it just foul wide of the bag.
See the pitch count way up there. Trying to get the first out in the 4th inning.
Breaking ball got him, 1 away.
Buxton striking out for the 2nd time, and Youngman picking up his 2nd strikeout. So he went back to the breaking ball, tighten it up a little bit. Lucroy doing a good job of knocking it down.
Coming up Saturday, April 30th, the Twins taking on the Tigers, and the first 10,000 fans get a Twins fur bomber hat presented by Red Baron Pizza. Go to twinsbaseball.com/tickets. Get your tickets for a Twins bomber hat and your ticket to summer. There's Polanco, a double and a ground ball to second. Ball 1. Polanco playing at third base today. First time in 5 years he's done that. Carter will fire to second. And no throw to first. Polanco will reach. 2 away, and we'll see if Polanco's asked to steal a bag. Dozier, the batter. Last year in a full season, AA, AAA, and a cameo in the big leagues, Polanco stole 20 bases.
And a minor league, 7 minor league seasons, 55 stolen bases, but he's been caught 41 times. Something I'm sure he wants to get better at.
Dozier 0 for 1 with a walk and a run scored. They'll keep an eye on him. Sets up away, and Dozier takes strike 1. Of course, the Brewers holding Polanco on, meaning Carter's got a foot on the bag, and the second baseman Jeanette is pulled almost over to where a shortstop would be. And Dozier has that huge 110-foot gap, and you can see from that angle the outfielders are bunched closer together than the infielders are for Dozier. And the ball hit right into the shift, and Dozier is retired, and that'll take care of the Twins in the fourth inning.
The old border battle.
Ricky Nolasco leading by 2. In case you're wondering why on earth this border battle is being held during the week with 2 games in Minnesota, 2 games here, we can partially answer that. Carter takes ball 1. Why it's in April, I don't know that anybody's happy about that, because school's in session and it's almost impossible for the traffic to go from one state to the other under these circumstances. 2-day games, so on and so forth. But it has a lot to do with the scheduling, and the bottom line is, except when the teams are in interleague play playing the central division of the other league, they can't do this, have this series on weekends. Chopper foul. In other words, and I don't want the job of scheduling. I don't think anybody's ever completely happy with the schedule that gets finalized, any of the 30 teams. But only when the American League Central can play the National League Central in interleague play, which is once every 3 years, only then can they have this series on 2 different weekends to encourage the travel inside 2 and 2. Next year, we had the Central last year, so next year we'll get the National League West, presumably.
Yeah, now there's an interleague game played every day now with National League and American League, 15 teams in each league.
2 and 2. Just off the outside corner. Very close pitch, full count.
Well, going to the fastball away, and not missing by much, just a couple inches.
Carter, Hill, and Flores here in the Milwaukee fourth. Squirted foul. Now, it's not just the Twins Brewers series that is this way. It's all the rivalries that are kind of pegged to 2 and 2, including that fierce interleague rivalry, the Seattle-San Diego rivalry.
Yeah.
Polanco scoops up the second out and fires across, one away. I tell you what, one thing watching Polanco, if he uses that glove all the time, he's going to give his manager, the coaches, and every Twins fan a heart attack because the webbing has got some white to it. I thought that ball went through his glove. A lighter tan, and from a distance it almost looks white. One down.
Nice little Rawlings glove.
You were always a Rawlings guy, weren't
yes,
you?
I was. Yeah.
There's Aaron Hill.
Watch this right here. He almost leaves the ground coming up. Whoa. Then sets himself. It's a good throw over to Mauer for the first out.
Velasco, second time through the order, is 5 for 5 in retiring batters. One strike to Aaron Hill. And fouled over the Milwaukee dugout. Hill hit a long home run in last night's ball game.
Yeah, his first as a Milwaukee Brewers 152nd Major League home run. Hill came up with the Blue Jays back in 2005. He was an all-star second baseman for the Blue Jays in 2009.
Pitcher's spot is due up fourth this inning. Capuano warming up, perhaps to come in as early as the fifth. Velasco's had a couple of pitches slip on him like that.
Yeah, that's a curveball right there. 56 pitches, 34 strikes for Nolasco, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts, 3 hits allowed.
Tapper foul. Twins won a rain-shortened game against the Brewers Monday night. Lost a ball game at home Tuesday, lost last night, trying to pick up their first road win of the year. Saw Park on the bench. 2 concerns with this road trip, one not having a designated hitter, and then the other, this guy was just starting to swing the bat well, and now didn't play last night. Guessing he'll get in at some point today just to try to keep his bat going a little bit, but it's not the best of timings for Young Ho Park to have to not start back-to-back games. We expect he'll start tomorrow against a lefty. Swing and a miss. Nolasco strikes him out.
Oh, he kept throwing him that curveball. Hill fouled off a couple, and finally he swings through one. So strikeout number 5.
Well, Major League Baseball's global reach seems to be greater than ever. For now, Cuba remains one country that's outside its reach. Watch our special documentary, Cuba, Baseball's Final Frontier, airing Monday, April 25th, following our Twins Live postgame show on Fox Sports North. 2 down, here's Ramon Flores. And last night, after I read the promo, we were talking about the strong Cuban connection, and I was trying to think of the last Cuban player to play for the Twins, and thanks to a friend on Twitter, it was Kendrys Morales, who was with the Twins for a couple of months, and just proving once again what a great social medium Twitter can be.
Oh yeah, they'll catch every mistake you make.
Well, heaven knows we make plenty of them.
I know. That's why I get a lot of tweets.
And now 1-1 to Ramon Flores. A pitcher spot right now. Youngman is in the next spot in the on-deck circle. One and one. Just off the outside corner, 2-1.
Velasco's retired 6 straight. There's his line so far.
2-1 to the Brewers center fielder. There's the outside corner.
He's got a lot of confidence in that breaking ball, and he changes speeds on it. So a lot of times in a hitter's count, he'll drop that breaking ball in. I've said it before, Nolasco on a mission this year. He wants to stay healthy.
Driven foul.
He wants to be accountable for what happened the last couple of years as far as injuries, not being able to go out there and take his regular turn. And, you know, you sign a big contract like he did, that's what you want to do. You want to go out and pitch the 200+ innings that they expected, but he was unable to do it. He wants to do it this year.
Check swing. And it's full count. You know, we were talking about Nolasco beating out Tyler Duffy. Now Duffy, Jose Barrios pitched well again today. Alex Myers made 2 very good starts down there. The AAA rotation is doing very well, and the Twins rotation has been just fine so far and relatively healthy. The ball hit to right, and Sano is back to make the catch and end the inning. Twins have some starting pitching depth that they've not had for quite some time. Joe Mauer will lead off the 5th when we come back.
And Twins have a 2-run lead. Ricky Nolasco's retired the last 7 straight. And Twin fans, don't forget at Twin home games, there's no sign right there. But if you bring a sign, you might get circled. And you may find yourself in the Minnesota Lottery winner's circle where you could win $100 worth of lottery scratch-off tickets courtesy of the Minnesota Lottery.
Joe Mauer, Miguel Sano, and Eddie Rosario facing Youngman. Mauer with 2 walks, a run scored. And the on-base percentage continues to climb.
And if you're Youngman, you probably know this is your last inning. You are due to lead off in the bottom of the 5th inning. This will be his 84th pitch.
Driven to the left field corner. Braun racing. Can't get there. And it hits the very top of the wall and goes out for a ground rule double. Well, the Twins get Mauer aboard for the 3rd time in the game, and that'll bring up Miguel Sano.
Walked into first, walked into third. This time gets a fastball and takes it the other way. Braun chasing after it, and it hit right off the dirt, bounced over the fence for a ground rule double for Joe's 3rd double of the year. Twins pick up their 4th hit.
Sano has one of them, an RBI single his last time up. He also walked in the first. Down and away, ball one. Paul Molitor said it has been discussed with Trevor Plouffe out, bringing Sano back into the infield. And particularly if Trevor Plouffe is gone for more than the 15 days. Nice block by Lucroy again. How many times have we said that in the 3 games that he's caught? But it has been discussed, and Paul said he'd prefer when Danny Santana comes back to put Santana at third base and leave Sano in the outfield. Santana is expected to rejoin the team when we get home Monday. Checked his swing, and that's ball 3.
Yeah, good take right there by Sano.
So important for this man to have some plate discipline. And we've seen that with the walks throughout his professional career. See if he's green lighted on 3-0. A 4-pitch walk, and Rosario will hit.
Walk number 6 for Youngman.
And Lucroy to the mound, looking over his right shoulder toward the Milwaukee dugout. Our Carsoup.com trivia question: the Brewer record for most strikeouts in a season?
10 Sheets.
That's a good guess, and it's correct.
2004. Well, if you open up their media guide and you look,
I do. The difference is I do it in advance of a series,
and I didn't.
You do it after the question's been
That's right.
asked.
That's right. You know, Teddy Higuera, you mentioned him. A couple seasons he had over 200 strikeouts.
And now there's going to be a double switch made with the Brewers having seen enough of Youngman.
They really struggled with his control, walking 6 here this afternoon. So he's unable to get an out here in the 5th inning. So another poor outing for Youngman, who came in 0-2 with an ERA at 9.
So forgive me, it is a young men's game, but today only till the 5th inning.
He's gamer, man. That guy can play.
One of the guys that nobody talk about him.
Came out of nowhere last year and ignited this team, I think, a little bit.
I thought he was gonna be in the rookie campaign last year, but nobody talk about him. Probably because he looked like a veteran.
They should be talking about him because of how good of a player he is, and I believe in, and I'm excited to see what he's got for this year.
And he's coming up in a key spot. The Twins are leading 3-1, but again, it's one of those games where it seems like they've gotten the minimum out of the maximum in terms of scoring threats.
Yeah, just unable to open this game up a little bit. It'll be Chris Capuano coming out of the bullpen, 37-year-old veteran, back with the Brewers. He came up with the Diamondbacks, bit the Brewers about 5 years before he went over to the Mets. Making his 7th relief appearance. Neuenhuis taking over in center field.
Corner infielders are up. Rosario sacrifices last time up, and he takes a pitch up, ball 1. He's in a similar spot, first and second. Nobody out. Twins already had a run in the 3rd inning, and he laid down a bunt between the mound and the 3rd baseline. To center, down for a hit, and everybody moves up a base. So they're loaded up with nobody out, and that'll bring up Eduardo Escobar.
Nice piece of hitting right there by Rosario, just getting a pitch right there and lining it in the center. I like what the players said about Eddie Rosario. You know, he came up last year in May and really made an impact. He hit .267, 13 home runs in 122 games.
You know, forget who it was. Somebody said he looked like a veteran. I think Irvin Santana said that. And you know, another way of putting it was he came up and he wasn't overwhelmed by major league pitching. He just, you know, and I don't know that what we have seen isn't what we have every right to expect from him. He likes to swing the bat, hit the baseball, and it goes a long way sometimes. Bases loaded. Here is Eduardo Escobar. Corner infielders up again. This is a really curious shift. They've got Carter playing off the first baseline by about 30 feet, but in on the edge of the grass. So not only is he the only infielder on that side, but he's playing in a few steps, trying to, of course, get the force play at home if Escobar hits it to him.
Capuano, a lot like Tommy Malone, adding and subtracting, not an overpowering fastball. There's a good changeup right there, probably his best pitch.
Escobar is a left-handed batter, hit a comebacker to the mound, and one of the frustrating at-bats of this game.
Yeah, he hasn't had too many at-bats as a right-handed hitter. He has 7, 3 hits and 7 at-bats with a double.
Inside with a breaking ball, and 1-2.
That slider down and in. Capuano's pitched for the Diamondbacks, Brewers, Mets, Dodgers, Red Sox, Yankees last couple years. Went to spring training, non-roster player, made the club out of spring training.
Twins so far this year 1 for 12 with men on every base. The hit coming earlier off the bat of Rosario. Lays off 2-2.
Good take after swinging at the previous slider down and in. Escobar laying off of that one.
Left side of the infield for the Brewers, 3 infielders and 2 of them are playing back. They'll I think take a ground ball double play here if it's hit over there. And if it's hit to Hill, he'll come home. Escobar trying to get one deep enough to the outfield, at least to get Mauer in from third. Pulled foul between Joe Mauer and Gene Glenn.
Yeah, Joe had to get out of the way. Escobar way out front. Joe in foul territory. There's a little skip rope to get out of the way.
One of their better averages, just 176 on the year, at least today, 3 for 8, including Rosario's base hit that filled the bases. Big spot here for Escobar. 2-2 with the bases full. And fouled over the screen.
Really pitching him in. Everything has been inside, except for that one changeup that Escobar swung through. Capuano been through 2 Tommy John surgeries, left shoulder surgery. Still wanting to compete and play. Signed back in 1999 by the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Down and in, and a check swing, strike 3, 1 away.
He went back to the slider, and this time Escobar unable to hold up. So Capuano coming in with bases loaded. Just missed with a breaking ball, then the off-speed pitch. Then he went to that slider down and in. He laid off of that slider. Escobar did. Pulled that one foul. Then the fastball. And then back with that nasty little slider, and Escobar, a strikeout victim.
Another chance for John Ryan Murphy. Came up in the first with runners in second and third and made the last out. He came up in the third with runners at second and third and 2 out. Made the last out. Now they're loaded.
Yeah, Murphy needs a good hit right here. He's been struggling at the plate. Just 2 hits in 23 at bats.
1 out. The Twins need to cash in here in the 5th. Takes a breaking ball for strike 1. Boy, it's just an occasional fastball, and then everything else is spinning up there from Capuano.
Yeah, he doesn't have the fastball he once was. An 18-game winner for the Brewers. You got to go back to 2005.
Into the shift. Jeanette to Villar, double play. Now Murphy hit the ball sharply, but right to the second baseman, and the Twins fill him up with nobody out in the 5th, but can't score. Fans of the game, Twins fans here, hoping that the Twins can win the series finale, split with the Brewers 2-2. Twins have shot themselves in the foot again a number of times here in the first half of this game. Velasco with a 3-1 lead. He's retired 7 men in a row, and now Kirk Neuenhuis takes ball 1.
You know, a couple games ago in Minnesota, remember the first 2 innings, Twins left the bases loaded. They only scored 1 run. That was it. A couple of times, but 4 opportunities, and they ended up losing a ball game. So you have to take advantage of that.
Half mile in the air, and Dozier in the outfield grass will make the catch. I don't know if Miguel Sano even saw that ball. 1 down in the 5th. Twins flex plan gives you the flexibility to choose your games and your number of seats. Choose in advance or even the day of the game, so don't plan. Flex plan. Go to twinsbaseball.com/flex or call 800-33-TWINS to learn more. 1 down in the 5th. So far a perfect trip through the batting order. Remember, the Brewers double switched, so that's why Neuenhuis hit in the 8th spot. The pitcher spot now is the 7th spot in the batting order. Here's Jonathan Villar squaring the bunt and taking ball 1. Brewers got a run on a pair of doubles in the first inning. Since then, Velasco's allowed just Villar's hit. There's a walk mixed in there, but he's only given up 1 hit since the 3rd batter he faced. Push bunt, and Polanco charging as it bunted hard right to him. 2 down.
It almost looked like Villar wanted to push bunt that to short. But Polanco playing about even with the grass, even with third base. For some reason, bunted that ball extremely hard. Twins will take it.
Here's Domingo Santana. Doubled, scored, and then struck out against Nolasco in the 2nd. And it's, as it turned out, a perfect second trip through the batting order for Nolasco. This starting the 3rd time through the Milwaukee batting order. One strike to Santana. And now 2 strikes. And outside. 1 and 2. And another good inning for Nolasco. 3 straight 1-2-3 innings. And the Twins carry a 2-run lead to the 6th.
When you're playing for Molly, you want to play the game right.
He's one of the smartest baseball people I've ever been around.
Hall of Famer, so you try to learn as much as you can.
Respect him a lot. Obviously, everybody respects what he's done in the game.
It certainly is an honor to play for a guy like that.
He's rubbed off on us. His leadership is phenomenal, and I think he's a guy that you want to go out and play and make him proud of you. He brings out the best in players.
Paul Molitor's number 4 retired here in Milwaukee. And Ricky Nolasco will lead things off in the 6th, followed by Byron Buxton and Jorge Polanco. Ball 1. Nolasco drew a walk his last time up. Hit one to the gap in right center field, hauled in by Flores. leading off the second inning. A big swing and a miss. The last Twins pitcher to hit a home run was Jim Cott in 1973. Alone with 2 singles last night. Breaking ball 1-2. Now Gibson will get his chance. I guess that's the beauty of the 5-game road trip in National League cities. Every starter will get a chance to swing the bat.
Kyle Gibson got his first major league hit here at Miller Park
2-2
years ago. He'll be pitching tomorrow against left-hander Gio Gonzalez in Washington. Night game, then a couple day games. Good changeup right there. Capuano coming in relief, striking out his second batter. Boy, he did a great job. Even though he gave up a base hit to Rosario, first batter he faced, he struck out Escobar, then got Murphy to hit it to the double play.
Here's Buxton. Buxton has struck out twice today. See if he tries to bunt the ball right toward Chris Carter, about halfway between home plate and where Carter's standing now.
How about a double?
There's a fake bunt, taking low, ball 1. With Capuano, a left-hander, falling off a little bit toward the third base side. If he can bunt the ball in front of Carter, force him to field the ball, Buxton should beat him to the bag. In the dirt, 2-0. Of course, if Capuano walks him, that's as good as a bunt.
I'm just watching Carter. You know, he kind of looked almost talking to himself, saying, if he bunts to me, can I beat him the first? He kind of looked at first like, okay, well,
I'm here. He's the fastest guy in the league. Can I cover 45 feet in the same amount of time that he's got to cover 90? 2-0. Popped up and into the seats.
These are counts you'd like to see Buxton beat that ball into the ground or hit a line drive. Too many times he's gotten underneath that pitch and created pop-ups. I think that's the thing that frustrates probably Molitor and Bernansky and Hernandez, Rudy Hernandez, the most. Too many fly ball outs.
2-1. Checked his swing. 3-1.
With Capuano out there, you're thinking fastball, but he throws that changeup as much as he likes his fastball. A lot of confidence in that off-speed pitch.
3-1 to Buxton. Ball 4. Buxton will go to first. Another walk. That this is just a 3-1 ball game is a crying shame.
It really is. 7 walks the Twins have taken.
5 hits for the Twins, but just a 2-run lead. Polanco got the first hit, cracking a double, and then later scoring in the first inning.
Polanco, a switch hitter, now hitting as a right-handed hitter.
A lot of speed to work with here, both on the bases and at the plate. And Carter leans toward Buxton to catch the pickoff throw.
Yeah, Capuano, very, very good pickoff move. That time he just kind of stepped back and threw over, but he also can do what Tommy Malone does, just kind of hold it for a split second. Tough guy to run against over his career.
Slide step and a pitch in the dirt. So with 2 throwovers and Capuano's slide step move, might not be the best opportunity for Buxton to try to steal, but Twins have been stymied here trying to get anything going. Playing with a 2-run lead. Would you see a hit and run here with an inexperienced hitter at the plate?
Yeah, you could.
Fouled back. That time Capuano picked his leg up, and it's like he held it there, hold, as you said, Tommy Milone does.
Yeah, hard to read lefties like that. I think John Danks, Mark Burley had a great move because he was so quick. But John Danks of the White Sox also very, very quick hold. Malone picked up a pickoff last night.
Danks is pitching today for the White Sox against Jared Weaver in a game being billed as catcher's mitt optional. Danks doesn't throw very hard anymore, and Weaver didn't have much when he was pitching against the Twins at Target Field this past weekend. 1-1 to Polanco. Grounder to short. How about that? 2 fast runners, and Polanco sends a 1-hopper to VR, and the Brewers get another double play. Park. Chorizo with the lead.
Yeah. Oh, be careful. Be careful. Oh, a little top heavy. Yep, thumbs up. She's okay.
And yeah, this weekend it'll be the president's race. And they added a president. Was it Millard Fillmore they added to the president's race? We'll find out on Friday. President's getting in the news. Millard Fillmore added to the mascot race. Andrew Jackson off the $20 bill.
What's this world coming to?
Scooter Gennett, as you took a look at the Jeep road ahead. Gennett 0 for 2, a ground ball to Mauer and a ground ball to Dozier.
And Nolasco on a good roll. He's retired the last 10 Brewers in a row.
Fly ball short left. And Rosario waits and waits and waits. 1 down. That'll bring up Ryan Braun. How about Nolasco? So far this year, he has pitched 19 innings. 10 of them have been 1-2-3 innings, including 3 in a row here this afternoon. That's a pretty good percentage in this day and age to have 10 1-2-3 innings out of 19. He's gotten Braun once. Braun got him for an RBI double in the first. And a breaking ball in the dirt gets a swing and a miss. One. Time call.
Yeah, Braun won a time right there.
Just missed the down and away corner. 1-1.
Braun stands right in the middle of that batter's box, foot as far back as it can get. Good swing right there and a good breaking ball.
It elicits so many swings and misses. And in the Lucroy at bat in the first inning, froze a veteran hitter for a called third strike.
Season high 6 strikeouts for Nolasco.
2-2.
Nolasco's career high. He once had a game 16 strikeouts in Atlanta against the Braves back in 2009.
2-2 to Braun.
Hard breaking ball again. Braun a strikeout victim, so strikeout number 7 for Ricky Nolasco. Good hard breaking ball, outer half of the plate. On swinging through it.
His effectiveness this year goes beyond the 1-2-3 innings. He's just about ready, and perhaps in this at bat will complete 20 innings worth of work this year, and he will have only been scored on in 3 innings. The Moustakas home run in Kansas City, the 4-run inning in the second against the Angels, and then the first inning run that the Brewers got here this afternoon. That's provided he can keep the Brewers off the board here in the 6th. Ball 1. And the pitch count still modest. I'd like to believe Nolasco might be able to make the third straight start where he's given the Twins 7 innings.
Of course, he spent a lot of time on a disabled list last year. Had a great month of May, 5-0 his last win. His 100th win came back on May 25th.
Base hit to center for Lucroy, a single. That'll bring up Chris Carter.
Now that ends a streak of 12 straight Brewer retired by Ricky Nolasco. Lucroy picking up the first hit since the 2nd inning.
Nolasco will go after Carter, who's hit a fly ball, a pop-up to Brian Dozier, and hit a ground ball to Polanco at third.
Well, you have to be careful with this guy because we saw his power last night when he hit that line drive home run to right center.
Ball 1. Carlos Torres warming up in the Brewer pen. Half swing and a strike. Pitcher spots due up, not next, but the hitter after that in the hole. Twins with 2 runs in the first, 1 in the third. Many opportunities to have scored 7 or 8 runs here today. So far, it hasn't mattered. Nolasco's been very, very good again here today. One and two.
He's staying with that hard breaking ball. Another curveball.
Slower breaking ball. And Murphy tried to hold it, frame it, do everything he could to get the called third strike, but he didn't get it.
Yeah, this is a little bigger curveball.
Just outside.
Nicked the corner.
Fox tracks with the round circle there doesn't account for the seams that stick out just a little bit.
That's right.
And now 3-2, and that'll give Lucroy an early start at first base.
Well, he's thrown him 5 straight breaking balls. You would think he would throw another one here on 3-2. Aaron Hill on deck. The slider.
Chopped up the line. Fair ball. Polanco throwing off.
Nice
showing
throw.
off a strong throwing arm. And Carter's retired. Another scoreless inning for Ricky Nolasco.
Nice play by Polanco. Two-run lead. This copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Minnesota Twins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Minnesota Twins, LLC.
Brian Dozier will lead off the top of the 7th inning against Torres, who comes out of the Milwaukee bullpen. Carlos Torres making his 7th appearance of the year. Twins saw him in Minneapolis a couple days ago.
Yeah, had little control problems in last night's ball game. Worked just a third of an inning. Had a couple walks through 11 pitches, only 3 over the plate. He did pick up a strikeout.
Dozier, Mauer, and Sano trying to give the Twins some breathing room.
Torres basically a good fastball slider type pitcher.
Twins scored 2 runs in the first, but they left 2 men in scoring position in the first inning. Scored a run in the third, left 2 on in scoring position in the third. Then they loaded the bases with nobody out in the 5th and didn't score. And then they had the Buxton aboard with 1 out in the 6th. Capuano paid enough attention to him at first. They never moved Buxton, and then Polanco hit into a double play. 1-1 to Dozier. Fouled away.
Capuano came in, did a great job. You know, did give up the base hit to Rosario, then struck out Escobar, got the double play.
Two of them.
Yep, off the bat of Murphy, and then the double play off of Polanco.
Now 1-2 to Dozier. He walked in the third and scored. Pop up to the second baseman behind second base. And then he hit a hard ground ball up the middle that would have been a hit if not for the shift. And that would have been a hit very likely as well without the shift. One down. And the sad thing for Brian is as long as he keeps doing that, he will see more and more shifts.
Yep.
It's paid off for the Brewers in a number of his at-bats during these 4 games. And teams have advanced scouts and they pay attention. And so when we get to Washington, D.C., I wouldn't be surprised to see Dusty Baker put his second baseman over there and almost dare Brian to hit the ball to the right side. Here's Bauer. He's reached all 3 times with a pair of walks and a double.
I agree, Dick. I think, you know, once he starts to realize that they're pitching him away and he's still trying to hook that ball, it's going to continue. But you know what? Brian Dozier is one of the leaders on that ball club. He's a guy that can't get his head down. He's got to keep his head up. You know, we saw him in last night's ball game not hustle out a ball down that first base line. You can't do that.
Fly to left, and coming in is Braun. 2 down.
You know, I don't know the Brewers system that well, but I know in spring training they had Blaine Boyer come in as a non-roster player. They had Capuano come in as a non-roster player. Minor league contracts. Torres, here's a guy that went to spring training with the Atlanta Braves, got released, and now he's in the bullpen. So maybe they are looking for guys out of that bullpen because they have at least 3 guys out there that came to spring training basically looking for jobs, and they got them.
Sano's reached all 3 times, a couple of walks and an RBI single. A drive to right center field and deep. Gone! A home run for Miguel Sano. His second of the year, and it's 4-1.
Well, he's starting to heat up a little bit. A couple hits in last night's ball game here, picking up his second hit on his second home run. Boy, he looked fastball down and got it. And again, you see the strength of Sano. That powerful swing. And that ball traveled a long way out to right center. Well, the first home run of the ball game goes to the Twins and Miguel Sano.
And now Eddie Rosario, you know, we're lucky enough to be down on the field and get a look at batting practice, and Sano can put on a show, but at 5 o'clock it really doesn't matter. But you get a sense for someone's power when you watch batting practice. First time I ever saw a hitter have what Sano has, and we saw it from Justin Morneau when he was with the Twins. Swing and a miss, 2 strikes. Reggie Jackson. And when I got to see Reggie take batting practice at Yankee Stadium, everybody else would hit the ball and it seemed like it went a long ways, but then Reggie's fly balls would stay in the air longer and go another 40-50 feet. We saw that with Justin Morneau, and you see it from Sano too. That ball was hit hard, obviously, and it just stayed in the air so long it carried well over the fence. Now Rosario has his 3rd hit today.
He fought off a fastball right there and hits it softly into right field. Yeah, you know what? I was watching the Brewers batting practice. The guy at first base, Chris Carter, the same thing. I mean, when the ball comes off his bat, and I know it's like you said, it's batting practice, but my goodness, they're strong.
But if you can notice that from behind the cage, I would imagine you can really notice it when you're on the mound.
Believe me, I can. I did.
That ball should start to come down here pretty soon, shouldn't it? Oh, no. Up and away to Escobar.
Yeah, every time the moon comes up, I always think of George Foster, the ball he hit off me in Pittsburgh. So, here it comes back again.
And now down and in to Escobar. Drove in a run with a ground ball in the first. And had an RBI spot in the 3rd and hit a comebacker to the mound. Another RBI spot in the 5th and struck out with the bases loaded.
Yeah, that was a big home run right there for Sano, because the Twins were really having a tough time driving in runs when they had opportunities. And in one swing of the bat, it's a 3-run lead. Escobar looking for his first hit.
Two and one. And on the outside corner, 2-2. Escobar trying to extend the inning, and John Ryan Murphy would hit next. Murphy would like yet another opportunity to drive in a run. He's had 3 great chances to drive in a run and has yet to do that. 2-2 to the Twins shortstop. Runner goes, and the pitch lifted behind third base. And foul by about 10 feet. Two and two. Torres to Escobar. Runner goes again. Ball 3. And in with a stolen base is Rosario.
Boy, he had a great jump again. Lucroy, very, very strong arm, right? Very accurate throwing arm. But Rosario gets a stolen base, his 2nd. Look at the throw right there, right on the money. But Escobar able to get that right foot on the bag before the tag can be applied.
Brewers may challenge this. That's why there's a bit of a delay. Counsel waiting for the thumbs up, thumbs down from his coach. And they're going to take a challenge. They think they got a shot at getting Rosario and his stolen base taken away here at second.
I'm sure Pat Murphy is the bench coach for Craig Counsell. Pat Murphy, former manager of the Padres.
There are a lot of guys out there who used to manage the Padres. Ron Gardenhire was a candidate in their change they made during the offseason.
Take a look right here.
Well, I don't know that there's going to be enough evidence there. The tag made on the inner thigh about the time Rosario's foot was on the bag.
Watch his right foot on. Looks like he's got the bag right there, and then the tag is applied.
I don't think there's conclusive evidence to overturn the call. So I'm going to leave stolen base in my score sheet.
I'm going to wait because you just don't know.
That's true.
Do you do yours in pencil? I do.
Of course, yeah. There's a reason they put this rubber thing on the other end.
Mine's worn down. Yep, safe.
So a stolen base for Rosario, and it's a full count to Escobar.
We'll get another look right here. The ball, you can see right there, the foot clearly on the bag before VR could make the tag.
And as happened so many times, if he had been called out in the Twins challenge, it wouldn't have been reversed either. It was just one of those bang bang plays. Full count now to Escobar, trying to tack on another run here after Sano's 2-out home run. And there's ball 4, and here comes Murphy with yet another opportunity.
It's the 8th walk the Twins have been able to take this afternoon.
Every time Murphy's come up, he's had at least one man in scoring position. In the first, with 2 outs, there were 2 men in scoring position. He bounced out. In the third, 2 men in scoring position. He had a comebacker to the mound. And then in the 5th, with 1 out, the bases were loaded, and he hit into a double play.
And he smoked that ball up the middle, but the shift, the second baseman was right there to make a nice play and turn the double play.
That was with Capuano on the mound, and so with the left-hander on the mound, they shifted him, and now with a right-hander, they won't. Jeanette is pretty much where a second baseman is normally placed. Swing and a miss. Murphy, the batting average down to .083, still looking for his first run batted in of the year. Chip shot right field. Santana's under it. John Ryan Murphy today, a day he'd like to forget. He's left 9 men on, 7 of them left on in scoring position. Sano's home run increases the lead to 3.
Let's take a look at the Grand Casino story of the game. Eddie Rosario driving in a run in a 2-run first inning for the Twins. Escobar a ground out. That scored the second run. Twins took an early 2-0 lead. But 2 doubles in the bottom of the first inning. One by Santana and then an RBI double by Ryan Braun made it a 2-1 ball game. Twins added another run in the 3rd inning with the RBI single by Sano. And then in the 7th inning, Sano hitting his 2nd home run, giving the Twins a 4-1 lead. And Ricky Nolasco out there to start his 7th inning of work. Nolasco at 90 pitches right now. 55 have been strikes.
Aaron Hill, strike 1. And now ball 1. Hill 0 for 2, a fly to center, and he went down swinging. Former Twin Alex Presley just called up. He's on deck, and in the bullpen, Ryan Presley and Fernando Abad. Two and 1. Presley went 7 innings in his first start against Kansas City. Gave up just 1 run. Pitched 7 innings in his second start against the Angels. Gave up 4 runs in 1 inning.
Yeah, the second inning. Yeah. Then he put zeros on the board.
And just a first inning run so far here today.
Right, I'll tell you what, he has that breaking ball working here this afternoon. Mixing in the fastball, then putting him away with that hard breaking ball. 7 strikeouts for Nolasco. He's allowed only 4 hits, and 3 of the 4 coming in the first 2 innings.
2-2. Breaking ball hit on a line, picked off by Escobar. 1 down. So 1 down, and now Alex Presley being announced as the pinch hitter for the pitcher.
Yeah, Presley just getting called up, a former Twin. He was with the Twins in 2013 when he played in 28 ball games, hit .283. And went over to the Houston Astros the last couple years.
Did okay there, hitting the 240, 250 range. Another former Twin, Josmil Pinto, was with the Brewers. I think he's now with the Mariners. Mariners picked him up most recently. One strike to Presley. And he gets a base hit. Dropping a single in front of Buxton with one out in the seventh. That'll bring up Neuenhuis.
They waited back nicely on that breaking ball and just hit it softly in the left center.
Neuenhuis, the scheduled batter, and looks like Paul Molitor is going to go get Fernando Abad and bring him in.
Well, another good start for Ricky Nolasco.
Taking a lead into the seventh inning, he goes 6 1/3 with just so far the 1 run allowed, and the Twins are hoping the bullpen can protect a 3-run lead. Three straight 1-2-3 innings, and a very encouraging start to the 2016 season for Ricky Nolasco.
Yeah, 7 strikeouts, 1 walk, 5 hits in 6 1/3 innings, and he retired at one time 12 straight Brewers. From the 3rd inning to the 6th inning.
Hill hit his liner to Escobar sharply. Presley jumped on a pitch, hit it hard to center. So Nolasco leaves with 5 hits allowed, and Fernando Abad.
Yeah, Abad making his 7th relief appearance. He worked on Tuesday, an inning and 2/3. Gave up only 1 hit with a couple strikeouts. So far so good for Fernando Abad. He's only allowed 2 hits in the 6 2/3 innings.
Walsh will pinch hit. Colin Walsh will hit for Neuenhuis. Two bench players left for the Brewers, their backup catcher and Rivera. Strike on the outside corner. That's the fastball from Abad, and it might be the last one that Walsh sees.
We've seen a big slow curveball, then also a very good changeup. Abad last couple of years with the Oakland Athletics.
On the outside corner, a 90-mile-per-hour fastball, then one at 89. I highlight of the season schedule-wise has been the Twins sweep of the Angels, and they did it without Fernando Abad, who was in the Dominican Republic for his grandmother's funeral. 2 strikes. And now a ball.
There's a slow changeup right there.
And Abad going to clear his spikes behind the mound on the rubber mat.
Yeah, about 30 years old. Came up with the Astros back in 2010. Also pitched for the Nationals in 2013.
And a changeup, off-speed pitch of some sort. 2-2.
Walsh in his rookie season, a Rule 5 pickup by the Brewers from the Oakland A's organization.
Got him. 71 miles per hour, and it floated over the outside corner, 2 down.
Top of the strike zone right there. Abad picks up a strikeout. Watch Walsh's reaction. He thinks his pitch is high, but it's belt high. Upper strike zone.
Box tracks presented by Carrier. 2 down, and now Jonathan Villar. With a single in the 5th, tried to bunt his way aboard in the 5th, but bunted it on one hop hard to a charging Polanco at third base. Up and away, ball 1. In the Twins win over the Milwaukee Brewers on Monday, only one pitcher pitched. Phil Hughes gave the Twins 6 innings. We had the long rain delay. They called the game. Twins won 7-4. In the subsequent games, both Milwaukee wins. They have absolutely plastered the Twins bullpen. And so the Twins, hoping to split this 4-game season series, will hope that the bullpen can get the last 8 outs for Ricky Nolasco. 1-1. And now 2-1.
Villar, a switch hitter, 6 hits and 20 at-bats as a right-handed hitter. His home run this year came as a right-handed hitter.
And he clips the outside corner with a 91-mile-per-hour fastball. Blazek the right-hander, Freeman the left-hander. Pitcher spot due up to lead off the top of the 8th. Abad hopes to get us there with this pitch. 3-2. If Villar reaches, Santana will come to the plate as the tying run. Full count to Jonathan Villar. High fly to Byron Buxton in center field.
Good changeup right there.
Abad gets the last 2 outs of the 7th, and the Twins take a 3-run lead to the 8th. in a couple of games that didn't count at Nationals Park before the season started in Baltimore. Eduardo Nunez will hit in the pitcher spot against Freeman.
Yeah, Freeman, a late pickup by the Brewers from the Texas Rangers on April 5th. With the Rangers last year, 54 relief appearances. A converted outfielder turned to pitcher. An outfielder converted into a pitcher. When he is at the University of Kansas. Presley taking over in center field.
Well, the Twins going to throw some speed at the Brewers here, hoping to utilize the speed. Nunez, Buxton, and Polanco here in the 8th inning. Corner infielders up. Up and away to Nunez. To center field. And Presley over a few steps. One down. That'll bring up Buxton. Buxton has not put a ball in play today. He struck out twice and walked once.
And Freeman basically a fastball slider pitcher. Not a big guy, 5'11", about 180 pounds.
Late on the fastball, swing and a miss.
Anytime I see guys that are left-handers built about like Freeman, I think of Tommy Hall, the Blade, that pitched for the Twins in the early 70s. He had a great fastball.
You look at somebody like this who throws hard. We just saw 94 miles per hour. You wonder where the power comes from. And they didn't have radar guns back in the day of Tommy Hall, but I would guess he would have thrown what, 94, 95, something like that.
And a very tight slider.
Buxton with a base hit to left. So he's been on base his last 2 times up, and look at this speed. Wow. Everyone was thinking single except Byron Buxton. Make it a double.
Well, he knew where that ball was hit. Maybe he knew where Braun was. But by the time Braun got to the ball, he was rounding first already. He had committed to get a double. He sees that it's down the left field line right there. Wow. That's why if he can get on, he's going to create some excitement.
Just putting the ball in play, not popping it up, and my goodness, he's going to be an exciting player. Now we'll see what Polanco can do to get Buxton in from second base. You wouldn't think it would take much. Carter about 30 feet off the first base line. Polanco with a double and a run scored in the first. Since then, he's put the ball on the ground 3 times. And thrown into center field, and Buxton will try for third and gain easily.
Yeah, an errant throw by the pitcher, Freeman. He'll be charged with an error.
Take a look at the double again.
Well, to be this fast, look at him right there, those long strides. And then the way he went around first base, it was just like, you know, just glided into second.
You can't run at a right angle. The bases are lined up that way. So what Buxton did there, he made his turn before he got to first and had a more direct route to second. Now the infield is in all the way.
And he's not even breathing heavy. That's the thing.
One strike to Polanco, a foul tip. we've seen, and granted Buxton hasn't hit much, but you've still seen the tools, the athleticism. Polanco gets called up for a cup of coffee 2 years ago, last year, and now he's here again, and you can see the skill set. We see it from Kepler. And if they can develop, this is going to be a very fun team to watch. Swing and a miss, 1 and 2. And Polanco now, see if he can tone down the swing a little bit and put it in play and get the run in.
He has 4 major league RBIs, 3 a couple years ago, 1 last year.
One and 2. Very high. It's refreshing to see a guy come up here and not strike out every other time too. Put the ball in play 5 times. Little chip shot to right. Santana with the catch. Buxton tagging. Here is the throw. Safe. A perfect throw from Santana, but Buxton beats it. And Polanco drives in a run with a fly ball.
Yeah, what a great throw by Santana, and the speed of Buxton scores the 5th run for the Twins. He couldn't have thrown it any better. Right on the mark. Watch the fly ball. Buxton going back, tagging up. And the throw to Lucroy right there, but too late.
And now Dozier with the bases empty and 2 down.
So the hustle of Buxton right there gets Polanco an RBI, his first.
And then how about Polanco? 2 strikes. How many times have we seen hitters fail to get that guy in from third with less than 2 outs? And he just ended up doing what had to be done. Instead of trying to do too much, he just lifted a fly ball to right and got the run batted in. 5-1. Outside, 1-1.
And the Twins took advantage of Freeman throwing that ball into center field. Let Buxton get over to third.
A high fly to deep left field. Drawn back to the wall. Gone. A home run for Dozier.
And home run number 2 for Brian Dozier. So the Twins open it up a little bit here now with a 6-1 lead with 2 outs in the 8th inning. Off-speed pitch, about knee high, and Brian hooking it into the stands here at Miller Park. Second home run of the ball game for the Twins. That's the first home run for the Twins. That's their 15th home run. First one off a left-handed pitcher.
Here is Mauer. Another good day at the plate for Joe. 2 walks and a double. Ground rule double leading off the 5th. And now 1-1. Couple of runs here for the Twins, and while Dozier's home run impressive, I think the run that people are going to remember in this game is the first run this inning. Buxton hit what looked like a single to left, but his speed gave him a double. And then his speed drew the attention of the pitcher to the point where he threw a pickoff throw into center field. Buxton picked himself up and went to third. On a medium deep fly ball, Santana did everything he could, but Buxton's speed allowed him to score from third base. 1-2 to Mauer.
And Dozier's home run just icing on the cake.
slashed foul. One and two again to the Twins first baseman. To center, hit hard. Presley had to adjust his route out in center field to make the catch for the third out. May comes into the ball game with the Twins now leading by 5 runs. The numbers for May deceivingly good. I don't think Trevor's pleased at all with the command that he's had with all the walks and everything, but yet you look up and hey, 2.25 ERA, 6 hits.
He had that one outing last Friday against the Angels where he came in a little on the wild side. He walked 3 in 2/3 of an inning, but had a clean outing on Sunday. That's the last time he hit the big mound, so making his 8th relief appearance.
93 on the outside corner, strike 1.
Yeah, the numbers on May, 7 now. This 7 appearances, 8 innings. He has 14 strikeouts and the 6 walks, but 3 of them coming in one outing.
Down low, 1-1. When Trevor filled his role so well last year, pitching in the 7th and 8th innings, he had command of the fastball, the secondary stuff. We just haven't seen it all come together yet this year. .95 at the knees is a pretty good pitch.
When he is on, he's got an explosive type arm.
Santana, a double and 2 strikeouts.
And a very tight breaking ball. There's another good fastball.
.94 at the knees is a pretty good pitch too. One away.
Santana knew it. He just kind of walked away. And May comes in, gets the strikeout. Good fastball. Lower part of the strike zone.
A lot of the good things will happen to you if you hit that spot enough. One down, and now here is Jeanette. First Nolasco, then Abad, now May have held the Brewers at just 5 hits so far. One and 0. Crisp 94-mile-per-hour fastball for a strike.
Well, we've talked about it before. When May was put in as a starter, we didn't see that 94, 95. It was 91, 92, 3 in there. But since he moved to the bullpen, he knows he has maybe 1 inning. He just airs it out. Good changeup right there.
In an unhittable spot for a hitter, you know, Jeanette, you're gearing up for 94, 95, and he put it down and away. There wasn't anything Presley could do with that.
And the thing is, coming out of his arm is so quick as it is, it looks like a fastball. Murphy wants that fastball up.
Be chased by Rosario, and it's in the seats and back out. Twins fans joined the Heart of 29, a year-long campaign to help support the American Heart Association. Purchase a special Carew's Corner ticket package Fridays in April and May and receive a Rod Carew Twins jersey. Fans can also join or pledge Rod's team at the Twin Cities Heart Walk. Rod will be there for that. For more details, visit foxsportsnorth.com. Click on upcoming events on the Hot Topics bar.
Try to change the eye level. Now the curveball gets a ground ball.
7 Hopper to second. Dozier with the play. 2 down.
The previous pitch had high fastball, so your eye level is up a little bit higher. Then he drops the curveball, and Jeanette a ground ball for the second out.
Twins getting a couple of runs in the 8th, and just as importantly, Ryan Braun will hit here, presumably for the last time, with the bases empty and 2 out. High hopper over the mound. Dozier charges, fires on the run. A really good inning for Trevor May. A strikeout and a couple of quick ground balls and a scoreless 8th. And Miguel Sano's had a really good day at the plate. 2 walks, an RBI single, and a home run, and he'll lead off the 9th inning. And an interesting game. You look at what has happened, how the Twins have scored their runs. They probably should have scored twice as many as they have. But Polanco, Twins consider him to have a very high ceiling at this level, and he starts the game with a double and scores the first run. And then just along the way, you've seen glimpses, snapshots of why this Twins team soon should be really good. Sano's power, Buxton's speed.
You know what I like about this ball game? Yes, early on the Twins had opportunities to kind of open up the ball game, and then in the middle innings they kind of were shut down a little bit. But here in the 7th and 8th inning, they added to their 3-1 lead. Now it's a 6-1 lead. So you play the game. You're going to have ups and downs in the game, but you keep pressing, and hopefully good things will happen.
3-0 to Sano.
Sam Freeman in his 2nd inning of relief. Gave up a double to Buxton last inning, then the home run to Brian Dozier.
3rd walk of the day for Miguel Sano, and it comes leading off the 9th inning.
I mean, that's 9 walks the Twins have taken this afternoon.
Sanford Health injury report. And Pedro Baez, a freak accident happened in the bullpen. They're not sure yet whether he'll be available for the Dodgers. Sanford Health injury report. Sano checks out of the game, and Max Kepler comes in to run for him. And now Eddie Rosario. 3 for 3 with a sacrifice. Rosario, who struggled in the first 2 weeks of the season, hit a pinch hit home run Tuesday, game tying home run last night, and now 3 singles today.
Well, this game you can get cold like Rosario was, and you keep working hard, and then all of a sudden you start making better contact. Might have been that pinch hit home run he hit that got him going.
His playing time filled by Oswaldo Arcia, who was swinging it pretty good. 4th hit, 4th single for Rosario, and Kepler checks in at 2nd base. Just a ground ball. I don't know that Carter is the most mobile first baseman in the major leagues, and Rosario gets his 4th hit.
Oh, he's kind of holding Kepler on right there. Carter kind of fell to his right, unable to get that ball. It was hit to his right. So a good day at the plate for Eddie Rosario. He picked up 4 singles. Kepler stops at 2nd.
And now Escobar. An RBI ground out in the 1st. Comebacker to the mound in the 3rd. Struck out in the 5th and walked in the 7th. One and 0. And Freeman resets. After the game, the Twins fly to D.C. Open up a 3-game series with the Nationals tomorrow night. Hit to the left field corner. Foul by a little bit. And it's 1-1.
Yeah, we're kind of blocked out by the stands on our seat right here, but we see it now. Only maybe a couple feet at that.
One and one, the Twins shortstop. We talked about the Twins adding runs late. Certainly that's a big part of this 6-1 lead they have, but what credit Nolasco and the bullpen too. They didn't buckle. They didn't give the Brewers any encouragement while the Twins were scuffling along. 1-2 now to Escobar.
Good changeup there. Yeah, Nolasco pitched great. Worked into the 7th inning. 6 1/3 innings, only 1 run allowed, 7 strikeouts, 1 walk through 96 pitches.
To left center field and down for a hit. Kepler will come around third and score. And Escobar drives in his 2nd run of the game. And the Twins have 7 runs.
Yeah, Freeman left a pitch up, and Escobar hitting it sharply into left center.
And now another chance for John Ryan Murphy. He's come up, counting this at bat, with 11 men on base. At least 2 in every plate appearance. And he's still looking for that first run batted in. Grounder to short, come back to the mound, sharply hit double play grounder and a fly to right.
I think Bob Murphy, he's never had trouble hitting. He's just
No.
in that little bit of a slump. Minor league, 263 hitter. 6 minor league seasons with the Yankees. 3 seasons with the Yankees when he was up, a 267 hitter. I mentioned, you know, Rosario struggled. You know, a lot of the young guys struggled. Now they're swinging a better bat. Hopefully Murphy, who hit that ball sharply in that double play in the 5th inning, hopefully he can hit something here, knock in a run.
He's made the last out in all 4 of his prior plate appearances, and if he does it here in the 9th inning, you'll just know it wasn't his day. If he hits into a triple play here to end the top of the 9th. 1-1 with Rosario at 3rd and Escobar at 1st. One and 2.
Murphy last year for the Yankees in 67 ball games hit 277.
25 at bats and so far just 1 strikeout. Behind in the count now 1-2. Twins may win this game, and John Ryan Murphy will want to forget all about it.
Well, no, you know what? Because he caught Ricky Nolasco. He did a good job, you know.
You'll want to forget about his at bat.
Yes.
One down.
You saw Murphy swinging out a pitch out of the strike zone. Freeman picking up his first strikeout.
Takes ball 1. Where do you have the pitcher hitting?
I have him hitting 8th, and I'm wondering why Nunez is up again.
I am too.
Is he playing defense somewhere that I didn't see?
Casey Fiend warming up. Nunez hit for Nolasco, or for the pitcher spot.
Right in the 8th inning.
And I'm trying to think if they did a double switch where the pitcher spot, because everybody's hit, there hasn't been another pinch hitter.
To be honest with you, I don't know where Nunez was playing. Oh, he did play 3rd. Okay.
Okay. So the pitcher spot is in Polanco's spot.
Right.
There we go.
Cool.
To short right. And a bluff, and now going ahead and coming home is Rosario. I don't think Rosario originally was going to score or attempt. He kind of came down the line a little bit, then he turned it on and ended up scoring on the fly ball.
I think he left because of the way that Santana went after that ball. He didn't really set himself up to make a throw home. It's a short fly ball off the bat of Nunez. Watch Rosario right here. Santana kind of hesitated. He didn't really get behind that ball. So Nunez, he gives Nunez an RBI on the sacrifice fly.
Buxton with 2 down and Byung-ho Park on deck. Buxton has reached his last 2 times. He drew a walk in the 6th, then he hit what we thought was a single to left, and he made it into second easily, then went to third on a wild pickoff throw and scored on a medium deep fly ball to right. 1 strike, 2 strikes. The only time the Twins have had a comfortable lead this year. The wins have been by 1 and 2 runs and then 3 runs on Monday. But that was the rain shortened game, so you couldn't really relax because you didn't know the game was going to end after 6.
And really, the yesterday's ball game, losing by 5 runs, that's kind of the, other than that 7-0 ball game in KC, every game's really been pretty close.
1 and 2 to Buxton. 2 and 2. Big insurance run in the 7th, 2 in the 8th, so far 2 here in the 9th. And Buxton strikes out for the 3rd time. Twins will take an 8-1 lead to the bottom of the 9th.
Worship, from the flair to the future.
Sano with a pinch hit home run. Wow. Buxton going back. Oh, what a catch by Buxton.
Almost as much as we admire champions, we adore prodigies. Seduced by the promise, captivated by the potential.
Here's a throw coming to third base. On the money. Out. Another assist by Rosario.
So much of the world belongs to the young. We chase the next and worship the latest.
A drive to the gap. Let's watch him run. A drive to left center field. The legend continues.
The Twins youth, some of the league's greatest.
And Mr. Sano, Buxton, Polanco, Rosario have all contributed to the closest thing the Twins have been involved with, on the plus side, to a comfortable lead.
Yeah, good to see the youngsters contributing here this afternoon. Casey Fiend will have the 9th inning, making his 7th relief appearance. He worked in yesterday's ball game, 2/3 of an inning, a couple hits, he allowed a run.
Just up high, ball 1.
Fien's ERA high, mainly because of that outing he had in Kansas City where he gave up 3 runs in 1 inning.
That's to right center field. Kepler is out there now. He makes the catch, 1-1. CenturyLink, what's next? And the Twins will send Kyle Gibson to the mound tomorrow night against Gio Gonzalez. Phil Hughes against Tanner Roark. Irvin Santana against Steven Strasburg on Sunday. Twins will face a left-handed starter, and that'll, I would imagine, give Young-Ho Park a start at first base. Here is Chris Carter. Kepler backpedals for out number 2. And Aaron Hill last hope for the Brewers.
Yes, for Casey Fien, this is the first time he's worked back-to-back days out in that bullpen.
Hill 0 for 3. You know, the Brewers have just 5 hits. And Velasco scattering those 5 hits. They got their 2 extra base hits in the first 3 at bats of the first inning. Strike 1 on the outside corner. Just foul. Past Nunez at third base. Fien trying to wrap things up on this next pitch to Aaron Hill. High fly center field. Easy play for Buxton. And the border battle between Milwaukee and Minnesota is bookended by a pair of Twins wins. Tom Hanneman, the Twins had a couple of really bad games in the middle of this season series, but they won the opener and today came up with one of their better games of the year in a convincing win.